Let's compare real numbers. In number 1 here we have the square root of 5 plus 3 compared to the square root of 5 plus 4. Let's write either less than, greater than, or equal to. So as you can see here, we're starting with the square root of 5 on both sides. On this side we're adding 3, and on this side we're adding 4. So we're adding more on this side. And if we add more to the same number, well, this side is going to be greater than this side. So we would say square root of 5 plus 3 is less than the square root of 5 plus 4. Number 2, we have the square root of 3 plus 3 compared to the square root of 13 minus 7. On this left side here, I have the square root of 3. Now, I know this is going to be less than 2 because the square root of 4, which is a perfect square, the square root of 4 would be 2. And so this is going to be less than 2, right? And so let's just say it was 2. 2 plus 3 would be 5. So this left side is going to be at most 5. It's actually going to be a little bit less than 5 since the square root of 3 is less than 2. Now let's look at the right side. The square root of 13. This is going to be less than 4, right? Because I know that the square root of 16 would be 4. And the square root of 13 is less than the square root of 16. And so this is going to be at most 4. It's actually going to be a little less than 4. Well, what would 4, if we say that square root of 13 is 4, which is, again, an over approximation, if this is 4 and we subtract 7, well, 4 minus 7 is going to give us negative 3. So we know that this side is going to be a negative number. This left side's a positive number. And if you compare a positive number and a negative number, well, the positive number is always greater, right? So we would say that the square root of 3 plus 3 is greater than the square root of 13 minus 7. Number 3, let's compare the square root of 2 plus 8 and the square root of 8 plus 2. So the square root of 2, looking at this left side, I know that this number is going to be between 1 and 2, since it's between the perfect squares 1 and 4. All right, so let's estimate low, and we'll say that this is approximately, this is going to be approximately 1 point something. And so 1 plus 8, this left side is going to be approximately 9. It's going to be approximately 9. Now let's look at the right side. The square root of 8, that's going to be a little bit less than 3, right? Because you know that the square root of 9 would give you 3. So this is going to be approximately 3, right? If we overestimate here, this is going to be approximately 3, and if you add 2 to it, 3 plus 2 would be 5. All right. So the left side is going to be approximately 9. The right side is approximately 5. All right. So this left side is going to be greater than the right side. Last example here, let's order them. So we have 3 numbers, and we want to put them in order from least to greatest. All right, so always be aware if it asks you for least to greatest or greatest to least. In this case, we want the smallest number to the largest number. Looking at these numbers, I have square root of 3, pi, and negative 1. The first thing you should notice is that this number right here is negative, right? And these two are positives. So the smallest number is going to be that negative number. It's going to be negative 1. That's my smallest number because it is negative. All right, now pi, remember we approximate that to be 3.14. Pi is approximately 3.14. What about the square root of 2? What is that approximately? Well, 3 is between the perfect squares 1 and 2. Right? And if we had the square root of 4, that would be 2. So the square root of 3, this is going to be less than 2. Okay? So if our smallest number is negative 1, the next smallest number would be the square root of 3, since that's a little bit less than 2. And then our greatest number here would be pi, because that's approximately 3.14. So now I have my list in order from least to greatest.